Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We have part 2 of the LCG SCX24, that's a lot of letters and numbers, Comp Crawler build. Obviously, by now you've seen the title of the video. We are changing the wheels and tires of this, which arguably should be the first change that you make when building a crawler like this, but I'm doing it number 2 because I don't know why. In this video, we will go over the wheels and tires that I decided to go with, take it out on the rocks, drive it with the stock wheels and tires, swap on the new wheels and tires, drive it again, and see how much of a difference it makes. Obviously, we know it's gonna make a difference. We're keeping up with the theme from the first video where we're just changing one thing at a time. Obviously, wheels and tires, 2 things. However, my opinion is if you're buying new tires, chances are you're also buying new wheels. So I figured it's one thing, technically, we'll call it. But honestly, I don't think there is an upgrade that you can do that would have a bigger impact on the performance of your vehicle than a swap to different, better tires in this case. The stock tires on these things are not good, to put it bluntly. There's no foam in them. They are vented, but they're fairly stiff. They're very bouncy. They don't get a lot of traction, as you saw in the last video. They're good for like trail riding and overall use, but if you want to do some actual crawling with these things, just not going to happen. With that being said, the wheels and tires that I went with are these Injora wheels, a deep offset tire. So the hex is almost flush with the back of the wheel, and Proline Trencher tires. I spent a lot of time trying to decide what wheels and tires I was going to go with. I looked at Little Guy Racing Parts, I looked at Injora tires, and I settled on the Proline Trenchers. Are they the best crawling tire? Maybe. I guess that's what we'll see today. Now, in full disclosure, these were not the original wheels that I had intended to use. I wanted to use a set of these Injora Beadlock wheels. I love the color, I love the style, and they come with different offset hexes, which is really cool. However, they just don't clamp down on the Proline tires, and I actually bought 2 sets to see if maybe I just got a bum set, but same problem with both sets. So I will unfortunately be returning these. So I settled on these Injora wheels. I still like them. I don't love the design, but I like them well enough. So if you've bought Proline tires before, at least in this 1.0 size, they always come mounted on these plastic bead locks. I know why they do it. It probably costs Proline like 10 cents to manufacture these wheels, but they include them with the tires, and then they can mark the price up like 10 bucks or 15 bucks or something like that. These wheels are good wheels. They're beadlocks, which is great, and they are usable. However, they're plastic beadlock wheels, and I don't want them. I'm not going to use them. It's just waste to me. I don't see a need for these other than to mark up their price, unfortunately. One of the benefits of running a metal beadlock wheel is you get added weight down low that you don't get with the plastic beadlock wheels. Proline, please, just release the tires. That's all we want. Nobody likes these wheels. Just release the tires by themselves, please. If you have ever used beadlock wheels in the past, these are the exact same thing. You have an inner metal ring that goes on the inside of the tire, and then you have an outer face and an inner face. And for these wheels in particular, they actually bolt together in the center. So these 6 screws bolt into the hub of the wheel, and that's what provides the clamping force on the tire. Unlike the Trail wheels, these wheels are working perfectly for the Proline tires. They clamp down, they're nice and tight. I'm not worried about slipping a bead. I have vented these tires as well using just a little leather punch. So the other thing I wanted to do is weigh the different wheels and tires, just to show how a stock wheel and tire compares to the Proline tire with the Proline beadlock, and then the Proline tire with the metal beadlock. So if we put this onto the scale, it comes in at about exactly 11 grams. So 11 grams, that's the number to remember. Switching over to the Proline wheel and tire, the plastic beadlock wheel, we have 13 grams. So very nearly the same weight. It does add just a little bit of weight. If we switch over to the Injora wheel and tire combo, we get a total weight of 23 grams. So just over double the stock wheel and tire setup. You can also see that they are barely bigger, not only taller, but wider as well. So overall, I think this is going to be a huge improvement. We're going to get a wider stance, we're going to get more weight, but lower, and we're going to get a much better performing tire. Let's get the stock tire mounted back up to the SCX24, get out onto the rocks, compare stock tire performance versus the upgraded tire performance. And I have high hopes that we're going to see some real performance gains here. To start out, we're going to try this, this little climb here. It's not the most vertical, but it is extremely smooth, and I just honestly don't know if the tires are going to get the grip that they need. We can try kind of going a little smoother, a little more slowly, and fortunately, as you know, the stock electronics in these things don't allow for some smooth, low speed control. So we're going to try some wheel speed, which unfortunately isn't going to work either. Yeah, I just don't know. And of course that rear bumper's getting hung up. Try bouncing. Oh, we did it. All right, with a little bit of wheel speed, we were actually able to get up that. I'm kind of surprised. That last one was a bit of a surprise. This one, I think, would be an even bigger surprise. This one is fairly steep. There's some underhung ledges as well, and I don't know. All right, all right. Okay, all right, actually that was a little easier than I planned. You know, we've got another fairly steep. This one I don't think will be too much of an issue. Of course I say that now as we just sit here and spin. All right, yeah, that's kind of how I figured it. We have another fairly steep climb here. It definitely feels like these tires excel better with some wheel speed. Their low speed traction just doesn't have much. Oh, it's almost there. There we go. So it definitely feels like to get up and over some really difficult obstacles, you definitely have to bump it quite a bit. And there's nothing wrong with having to bump obstacles. I don't mind it, but it feels like you have to bump almost everything to get any kind of traction. When that's where I have an issue, because obviously I feel like you just don't have as much control if you're having to kind of hit everything with the speed and try to hop up and over it. But honestly, it's faring a little better than I thought it would. Like in that instance, I really thought that would struggle. It feels like I kind of need to step it up. So far, this thing hasn't been struggling too much with a lot of the obstacles. This one has this, you know, the rear tires are in that kind of crack right through the rock. There's another obstacle where I think I might have to bounce it. And, oof, yeah, I don't know. This one is proving to be a little bit trickier than I thought. But this is good. We're here to challenge this. This is exactly what we're doing. Obviously, a beautiful day outside. We're right on the beach, right on the water. So it's okay. All right, all right. We got to pass that little crack, not quite where I'd planned, but yeah, so anyways, we're right on the water. Beautiful day outside today, so definitely not a bad day to be out crawling. And see, this is an obstacle where I thought this would just kind of walk right up, but it's not terribly steep, but it's definitely struggling. Maybe we're in looks like we're in like a little bit of a hole right there, so we'll try to. Yes, yeah, this is, I feel like the problem with these tires is they're not consistent at all. Sometimes they walk right up, but sometimes they don't. But also the traction. Like I said, I feel like it really needs wheel speed to kind of carry its way over obstacles instead of being able to just kind of crawl over them slowly. And yeah, so it looks like, oh, we're almost there. Okay, yeah, so right up at the top and a little bit of a struggle. We did make it though. So I think this is where we'll go ahead and swap out the tires. We have plenty of footage of it driving now between the last video and this video, driving on stock tires. So we'll go ahead and swap these out for the Trenchers on the Injora wheels, and then we'll give it a shot. Yeah, there we have it. Through the magic of movie editing, the tires and wheels are back on. These wheels are actually almost like a dead ringer for the paint. However, we're going to run into some serious body rubbing issues because of the bigger size of the tires, and now they're considerably more offset as well. This body won't be on here for much longer. We will be switching to a more comp-friendly style body, but let's get this on the rocks. We're going to start with the obstacle we just did to see if it's any more controlled with these new wheels and tires. Let's see. Almost immediately I notice a difference. Look at that. Yeah, this is an immediate difference. I can low speed crawl over stuff. It's predictable, it's reliable, but more importantly, it's easy. That was so much more easy. All right, that was a huge, so far, very impressed. This is not an obstacle I did with the stock tires, but we'll give it a shot with these, with the Proline tires. And again, they just, oh, hang on, hung up on a stick back there. All right, let's start that again. Yeah, they're just, it's so much easier to crawl over obstacles now. They just stick, whereas the stock tires didn't at all. This obstacle we did do with the stock tires, they didn't struggle too much with it, but again, I think what we're really seeing is how the Proline tires really just, it's an immediate difference with these new tires. Here we have another one we did with the stock tires. I have no reason to suspect whatsoever. Yeah, these tires just go up and over, and it's so much better. It actually feels like a capable truck now, whereas with the stock wheels and tires, it felt like it was, like it wanted to be, if that makes any sense. But now, look at that, it just sticks. No problem whatsoever. And I'm sure the added weight of the wheels is helping as well, just to kind of get some of that weight lower. Oh, look at that. That's, yeah, if you're gonna make any change to your car, tires is definitely the one to start with. And I know I'm not preaching to the choir here. I know it's common knowledge, but it is, if you've never done it, if you're still driving stock tires on your SCX24, the difference is absolutely incredible. It just sticks to the rocks, and it feels like it's you can actually do stuff with it now, whereas before it was like, yeah, it's kind of a fun toy, but now it's like, no, this is like an actual crawler. This is fun. So we'll try this little V-notch right up here. Ooh, look at, yep, again, just not much of an issue at all. I'm not quite sure how this will go, because this is just vertical, but we'll see if maybe we can just kind of get up and over it somehow. This may be one where you just need a long wheelbase and, you know, extra long or extra large tires, that is. But I don't think this is quite the setup to be able to climb something like this. Especially with that. Oh, no, hey, look at that. All right, I stand corrected. I did remove the front bumper, just because I feel like at this point it's doing more harm than good. Clearly that rear bumper is still dragging. All right, we'll see. This is another one where it's just an undercut ledge, so. Oh, well, all right. A little bit of wheel speed, and I don't quite know where we'll go from here, but we'll just kind of give it a shot and see what happens. There's not as much tire rubbing as I thought there would be on the body. Oh boy, this is getting a little precarious here. Oh boy. Oh, nope. We'll just try a little reset, and maybe we'll attack it a little more head on instead of trying to turn up quite so far to the left. Oh, it's still pretty precarious. All right, if we can just get it to settle down. There we go. All right. Nope. Whoop, whoop. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there for the day. Clearly, the tires are a significant improvement over the stock wheels and tires. This thing has become so much more fun to drive. It's capable, it's reliable, it's consistent. So let's get this back to the shop, and then we'll close out the video. I'll do some final comparison shots, and then we'll call it good. I gotta say, these tires have made an incredible difference. I mean, let's be honest, we all knew it would. Tires are like the first thing you should upgrade when making changes to a ready-to-run, especially vehicle. But it always shocks me just how much of a difference it makes. This thing feels so much more capable. I'm also really glad I went with these wheels because they do provide the wider offset, which I think is really important. The stock SCX24 axles are pretty narrow. Granted, I don't want to go extra wide that a lot of people do. I just wanted just a little bit of extra width just to provide some of that extra stability. And I think these wheels are like spot on for the width that I want. Obviously, as we drive around, as we do more testing, we'll see if that changes. But for now, I'm really happy. So before finishing this video, one thing I did want to do is compare the weight of the SCX24 with the stock wheels versus the new wheels and tires. So the last time we weighed it, it weighed this much. I don't have that number off the top of my head, but here it is. If we put the SCX24 back onto the scale, we have an overall weight of 285 grams. Now that is without the battery. If we go ahead and add the battery, we go up to 309 grams. So we have added a little bit of weight, but overall not that much, all things considered, which I'm okay with, especially given that the weight is added down low at the wheels, exactly where we want it. So the last thing I wanted to address was the price. The Injora deep dish beadlock wheels came in at $21.99. Again, these are US dollars. And then the Proline Trenchers came in at $26.99. So for this video, that brings the total cost to $48.98. That's excluding tax and shipping, and then added to the original cost, which was around $46 or something. This, again, don't have that number off the top of my head, is the total cost we have into this SCX24, again, excluding the cost of the actual car itself. So in our next video, I believe we'll be addressing the suspension and maybe one or two other smaller components. I'm still looking at parts and deciding, kind of making some final decisions on what I decide to go with, but stay tuned for that. If you are enjoying this, please go ahead and click the subscribe button. It does really help the channel out. And if not, that's fine too, you know? Do whatever you're gonna do. But we'll see you in the next one. See ya.